Alrighty, hello everyone. So my name is Marvin. I'll be doing the first speech for tonight. My topic of this speech is called leadership. It's from the Pathway program, the first speech of the level 2 section. So the length of my speech is 5 to 7 minutes. That means at 5 minutes I'll be getting a green light at the back, 6 minutes will be for the orange light, and 7 is the red. I think any time after 7:15 or 7:30 I'll get a bell, and that just means, hey man, just wrap it up, you're running out of time. And finally, the purpose of my speech. So the purpose is to identify my primary leadership style or styles. Quite simple. Leadership is more of an art than a science. Everyone has known or seen someone that is highly intelligent or highly skilled in what they do, end up in a leadership position only to fail at the job. You may also know someone with solid, but not extraordinary, intellectual ability and skills in a similar position, but then excel. What does that tell us? This leads me to believe that leadership is more of an art than a science. After all, the personal styles of leaders vary greatly. You will find some that are very analytical and reserved, as opposed to those willing to shout their mantras from the mountaintops. Does this mean that one is better than the other? Well, different situations call for different types of leaders. There will be times where an empathetic negotiator is a lot more useful than a forceful authority, and vice versa. I have found, however, that the most effective leaders are alike in one crucial way. They all possess something that has been come to know as emotional intelligence. Well, what exactly is that? Emotional intelligence, or EQ for short, can be defined as being aware of the emotions of others and the emotions of ourselves, and learning how to manage and express these, especially when under pressure. That doesn't mean to say that IQ or intellectual ability are irrelevant. But what I am saying is that the research has shown that emotional intelligence is the bread and butter to being a successful leader. Without it, a person can have the best training in the world, a sharp analytical mind, and an endless supply of ideas, but still end up as an unsuccessful leader. So that might beg the question of what exactly is a leader. And to put it simply, a leader is someone who is able to lead a group of people towards a common goal. Psychologist Kurt Lewin categorized the 3 major types of leadership as follows. The first being the laissez-faire leadership style. This leadership style is the most relaxed of the 3, where there is little to no control from management. The team or employees are self-managed and self-directed, and it is a do-as-you-please sort of mentality. This is in contrary to the autocratic leadership style, where there is full control from the leadership team, little to no input from the members, and every decision is made by the leadership team, and there is little to no feedback given to the team members. The third and final type is the participative leadership style. This is a medium of the other 2, where the team is involved in a lot of the decisions, and it is a democratic style of leadership, where a decision will be made based off the majority of the people involved. Over the past few years, I've been able to better understand my own type of leadership and figure out what works well for me in certain situations and where I struggle in. As a part of the speech, I had to take a Discover Your Leadership test on the Toastmasters website, and my results aligned with a lot of the conclusions that I've reached about myself, and it's very much in alignment with my personality. So you could ask what my leadership style is. And my leadership style is heavily focused on the individuals and getting to know them. I really enjoy understanding their goals, the who, the what, the why, and figuring out what their long-term vision is so that I can help them from today get to wherever they want to go. To do this though, I need to listen, I need time, and I need to create an intimate environment where both parties are willing to open up and express their feelings without being judged. You could say that my leadership style is most in alignment with the participative style. This is why I'd eventually love to work as a psychologist, a physiotherapist, a life coach, anything really where I get to sit down with someone, really listen to their thoughts, and improve their quality of life. But my leadership style does not come without its downfalls. By being someone who heavily focuses on time, connection, intimacy, one of my biggest limitations is making a fast decision. There will be times where I have to weigh up many variables, and this can get in the way of me making that quick decision that is sometimes needed. I also struggle with being a figure of authority, and sometimes I can value the outcome of how everyone feels more so than the outcome of the goal itself. To counteract this weakness of someone with a leadership style like mine, what I've seen useful is to simply find people whose strength is my weakness. What this will do is create a totally more effective situation or team that everyone can benefit from. I think it's incredibly difficult to be an all-rounder kind of leader. Even though we may only see one person in the limelight, that doesn't mean that that person isn't surrounded by a team that undoubtedly helps influence the decision. Leaders are surrounded by other leaders, creating a full spectrum of effective skills needed to help teams drive towards a common goal. We are all leaders in our own unique way, each with something special to offer to the person next to us and other individuals in our lives, and we shouldn't forget that. Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed, Marvin. What is customary after a speaker has spoken is to have 1 minute of questions. Does anybody have any questions, Marvin? Phil?
I guess sort of just like drawing on your previous experiences and jobs and that sort of thing, what do you think is the best leadership approach just to use on you, what has worked on you in the past?
So I can be quite lazy, and what I found useful for when I'm lazy is to be a bit more of the autocratic kind, to really push me, really direct me, really, push me in that direction to get the job done. But in terms of my character, getting to know me, and if I'm not being lazy, definitely the participator type. I need to sit down with someone, figure out their intentions, who they are, why they're asking me what they're asking me. So I'd say participator for someone like me.
Marvin, you said that you did the test online. I've done that test. How hard is it?
Oh, it's just a sort of generic test where they'll give you a question. I enjoy meeting strangers. Agree, disagree, strongly disagree. And you just go through that. It's about 30 questions. You submit it, and then it'll give you a list of your attributes. And then you can see for yourself if you agree with it, if you disagree with it.
Okay, thank you.
One more question, Ross.
This decision making on the hoof, as it were, do you have a feeling for gut instinct or trusting your gut?
Yeah, it's something I've been told to trust more in, my gut, and just that split second decision. But I think the rational side of me goes, hang on a second, give it some more thought, and then immediately that starts the cycle of taking too much time. So sometimes I just need to go for whatever comes to mind, but it's something I'm working on.
Thank you very much
Awesome.
indeed.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate that.
Describe it that way. So I came up with a couple of things that I really liked about his speech, and a few things that I'd like to challenge Marvin to change, or may I say improve upon, in subsequent speeches. So I really found Marvin's confidence start very impressive. He started by talking about two contrasting things, and that captures the audience's interest quite immediately. So I always feel that it's a nice way to start your speech. It gives it a solid start. At the same time, Marvin looked quite well prepared. He had done his test online. He had his notes ready here, and it also showed in his confident stance here, his eye contact, which was sweeping across the audience, as well as on the side of the chairperson. So all of this showed that he had practiced his stuff. He had practiced his speech. The hand gestures were wonderful. They were constantly moving. He wasn't frozen in one place, or the hands weren't in the pockets. At the same time, for challenging himself to the next level, I'd recommend to Marvin to open his arms up a little bit more, especially when talking about a leadership style which involves getting a whole group together or moving things forward. It could be something that could be incorporated into speeches in the future as well. At the same time, I feel that Marvin has been on a little journey of self-actualization where he's coming to terms with his own leadership style and the sort of person that he is. He has found out about his own long-term aspirations, what he wants to do with his life, and I think it's a brilliant thing and one of the wonderful things about being on this Toastmasters journey. I would recommend one more thing to Marvin, however, that in subsequent speeches he could try to not use any notes at all. Although the use of notes was almost unobtrusive, the magical connection that we had with Marvin during his speech sometimes weakens when he takes his eyes off the audience and glances at the notes. So it's a very little recommendation, but it could go a long way, and I'm sure Marvin can make this happen. He's a natural speaker. All in all, I felt that it was a wonderful speech, very carefully crafted, well practiced, and I wish Marvin all the best for the future as well. Thank you.